Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. APW Sports signing in for another video. And I previously did a video about 5 teams that I think will take a step back in fall in 2025. So today, I'm going to do the opposite and do a video about 5 teams who I think will take a step up and rise up during this 2025 season. Now, how I'm going to qualify that is, one, based off where they finished last year, based off how things went last year, and did they make necessary moves or necessary steps, or even just health-wise, that will make the team rise and be better than they were in 2024. But before I give my thoughts on that, make sure you guys leave this video a like as it continues to help this channel to grow and it beats the YouTube algorithm. And if you are not subscribed, go ahead and click the subscribe button and notification bell so you will not miss any videos that I post. But without further ado, let's dive into it. The number 5 team that I have on this list is going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, they finished 4-13 last year, and I think with the moves that they made this offseason, with the improvement that I think Trevor Lawrence is going to take under new head coach Liam Cohen, and you have Brian Thomas Jr., who had a phenomenal rookie season, Etienne and Bixby, who ran the football very well. I think with this defense with Armstead, with Hines Allen rushing the passer, Oluokun, who's been a mainstay at linebacker, Lloyd, I think this team is going to take a step forward in the weakened AFC South division. I don't think the Jaguars are going to be one of those teams that are going to surprise people like the Commanders did last year, as far as being one of the bottom teams and then going up towards the top. And then you have to account for both sides of the ball of Travis Hunter, who I think is going to be a phenomenal player for them. And then you add Dyami Brown from the Commanders, who had a very good year last year with Trevor Lawrence. I think defensive coordinator Anthony Campanile, I think they're going to be a much better defense than they were last year. And I think offensively, when you add a Brian Thomas Jr., who they had last year, you add Dyami Brown along with a Travis Hunter, I think this team will be above 24th in passing where they finished last year. I think they're going to run a ball way better than what they did last year as the 26th ranked rushing team. I think they're going to be much better defensively where they were last against the pass. I think they're going to be better with Travis Hunter spelling there. I think they're going to be better with Darnell Savage in the back end. And Tyson Campbell, who has started to get better and better, along with Jerry and Jones last year. So I feel with this football team, there's only one way to go, and that's up. Trayvon Walker, the former number 1 overall pick, has shown flashes that he can play good football. So I think with the added parts with this football team, I think with the health for Trevor Lawrence, and I think that is always going to be something that is going to be in the play, there's no way that he can be worse than 4-13. And with the AFC South, I still think not as good. Could they be possibly in contention for a division crown? Maybe. The Houston Texans are going to have something to say about that, but I think this Jaguars team will be one that will be on the rise in 2025. The number 4 team on this list will be the New England Patriots, a team that also finished 4-13 last year. They were one of the bottom-ranked teams in both categories as far as points, 30th in points, 22nd in points against. Then when you're talking about passing, one of the dead last teams with passing the football, throwing the ball. They were top in rushing, top 15 with number 13. Top against the pass at number 10, but bottom against the run at number 23. Now, I think the addition of Travion Henderson from The Ohio State University, Stephon Diggs, will be big for this offense. You have Demario Douglas, who I think is solid, Kendrick Bourne still, Kyle Williams, a wide receiver, Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper, who I think are very productive tight ends. They did a very good job improving this offensive line. Morgan Moses, Garrett Bradbury, Will Campbell, who they drafted this past draft. Then you got to think about the defensive side of the ball, who I think will be much better under new head coach Mike Vrabel. And then you have a new offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniels, to help tool Drake May into year 2 of his career. I think this team will be much better defensively with adding Milton Williams. They have Christian Barmore, who I think is a very good football player. They added Harold Landry. They added Carlton Davis. You have Christian Jones, who I think is emerging himself to be one of the best corners in the league. You have Marcus Jones as your nickel back, Robert Spillane, who they also added. So this team made much improvements on both offense and defense. And Drake May, when we're talking about his 2024, you see potential and growth. You see that he can play very good football. I just think he still needs some development. Do not get me wrong. But will you say he will be a step up, an improvement, a step up in play from what we seen from him in 2024 under new offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels, who I think is going to be a good fit for Drake May in this offense? The answer is yes. When you're talking about improvements on both sides of the football, and then you're talking about a head coach in Mike Vrabel, who I think's got a bad deal in Tennessee, who I think is going to come in and change the culture and change the mind and change the environment for this New England Patriots football team. Could you see them being above the Jets? Possibly. Could you see them being above the Dolphins? I personally think so. The Bills are still the cream of the crop. Don't get me wrong. But when we're talking about teams that are going to make a step forward, teams who, okay, and giving them another year, they're going to be real contenders when we're talking about challenging the Buffalo Bills. This New England Patriots team is it, and I think they're going to give teams fits come the 2025 NFL season. The number 3 team on this list is the San Francisco 49ers. And I put the San Francisco 49ers on this list. A lot of it was health. A lot of the reason why this team struggled was health when we're talking about them during the 2024 season. Now, they did lose a few pieces with Talanoa Hufanga moving on, Charvarius Ward moving on, and they traded Deebo Samuel to the Commanders. But I still think Brandon Ayuk comes back healthy. Jawan Jennings is back. Ricky Pearsall, along with George Kittle, and we got a Christian McCaffrey that's healthy. I think this offense is going to pick up some of the pieces that they left off it in 2023. Now, defensively, yeah, they lose Dre Greenlaw as well, which is going to be a hurt. But DeMondre Lenore has been a really good football player. Mustafa played really good for them last year. And you have Nick Bosa coming back healthy from The Ohio State University. And you have Fred Warner, who I think is possibly, along with Roquan Smith, probably the best off-ball linebacker that we have in the NFL. And I know they have Robert Saleh back, and I think that is going to be a huge pickup for them on the defensive side of the ball, along with Clay Kubiak, who is familiar with the Kyle Shanahan type of system. I think the only question mark maybe with this football team is, you can say, health and what Trent Williams is going to be at the later stages of his career. But Brock Purdy, I still believe he's a very good quarterback. Is he worth all the money, in my opinion? No. But we're talking about a football team that was 6-11 last year. They're in an NFC West division that, when we're looking at it, probably for me, outside of the Arizona Cardinals, is a very winnable division when you're talking about the Rams and the Seahawks. And with the healthy 49ers team and the way that they're coached and having guys back healthy, along with Mykel Williams that they added to the fold, I still think this football team, along with Bryce Huff that they added, I still believe this football team, when healthy, when everything is together, is probably one of the better teams in the league. And I think in 2024, things go right, they're going to be a football team that is not going to be an easy out. It's not going to be an easy victory. And I think Brock Purdy plays well enough and their offense is healthy enough to where they can start to get that explosion back. They can start to get some of those big chunk plays back. And when a Christian McCaffrey healthy and running the football, I think you're going to have a very good team with the 49ers in 2025. Today's video is brought to you by ExpressVPN. For me, it is very important to have a VPN to protect my online privacy. It'd be very, very creepy if there was someone out there who kept a log of every single thing that you did online. So why let your internet provider really do that to you online? The best thing to do is to get yourself a VPN, and why not go with the ExpressVPN, the best VPN available. Personally, I like it for the fact that you can unlock Netflix shows that you do not get in the US market. Now, one show that I've started to get myself into is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. You search Brooklyn Nine-Nine in the US, doesn't come up, but you can switch your location to Canada, and you can research Brooklyn Nine-Nine again, and bam, it pops up right then and there, and you can catch up on your episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Now, if you click the link in the description below, you will get 3 free months of ExpressVPN. Just by clicking the link below and you sign up today, you will get 3 months free of ExpressVPN. All you have to do is click the link down below, and you will get ExpressVPN. Now, let's just get back to the video. The number 2 football team on this list is not a homer pick, it's a real thing. I'm going to put the Chicago Bears here. Now, the Bears last season were god-awful for a big stretch of it, especially on the offensive side of the ball. The offensive line for the Bears in 2024, let's just face it, was god-awful. When you make improvements by adding Joe Thuney, Drew Dahlman, and Jonah Jackson in the interior of your offensive line. Then we're talking about on the defensive side of the ball, where the Bears were not good against the run, and you add a Grady Jarrett, Andrew Billings is coming back healthy, Gervon Dexter has played really good football, you add Dio Danebo, along with TJ Edwards, who has been playing some really good football. You get Brisker back healthy, which I think was a big loss for the Bears in 2024. And on top of that, you get a whole new coaching staff when we're talking about Ben Johnson as your head coach, who I think is going to do big wonders for Caleb Williams in year 2 of his career. Then we're talking about Dennis Allen as a defensive coordinator on the defensive side of the ball. I think this Bears team has no option but to go up with the improvements that they made from not only the coaching staff, but from also the offensive line. And then you draft Colston Loveland in round 1 at tight end to pair with Kmet, Luther Burden to add to Odunze and DJ Moore. DeAndre Swift gets a bit of a bad rap. I think Bears fans want him out, but I still think he's a very good football player. Then you have Kyler Gordon, who the Bears re-signed this offseason, who I think is an X factor in this defense. So you get a defense who I think Dennis Allen is going to do wonders for the defensive side of the ball. I think Ben Johnson is going to do wonders for Caleb Williams in year 2 of his career, when Caleb Williams showed very good promise in year 1. And then on top of that, you improve, finally, one of the worst offensive lines watching it in 2024 when you add Thuney, Dahlman, and Jackson to anchor the interior of your line with Darnell Wright, who I still think is a very good football player. Braxton Jones, when healthy, still commands, I think he's a really solid left tackle. I think this defense, with the guys that they have, with Brisker, with Byer, who had a very good year, Stevenson, who he got a bad rap for the Hail Mary, as he should, but I think he's going to take a step up and play with Dennis Allen and the things that he was able to do with the New Orleans Saints defenses back in the late 2010s and the early 2020s. I think with Coach Ben Johnson on this offense and the way that he coaches hard is only going to make this offense improve with Caleb Williams. And then you add somebody like Case Keenum, a veteran that can be in Caleb Williams' ear. I think is going to be one of the more underrated and unknown or untalked about signings. But when you have a veteran like that with Ben Johnson, this Bears team could possibly contend for the NFC North, and I think a playoff spot should be a goal of theirs. The number 1 team on this list is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. And I say the Bengals because this team could be no worse on the defensive side of the ball. I do like Cam Taylor-Britt defensively. DJ Turner has to step it up. But I think with getting new defensive coordinator from Notre Dame and Al Golden is going to help this team tremendously. Only thing about this team questionably is the contract of Trey Hendrickson to me at the recording of this video is still unsolved. Geno Stone's a very solid football player. Logan Wilson in the middle has played solid for them. But the biggest thing about this defense, you got to get Trey Hendrickson and Shamar Stewart as well signed. Assuming they get both of those things done, you have a very solid interior. B.J. Hill, T.J. Slaton, Chris Jenkins Jr., who they have, I think is going to be solid. But this offense, I think is still going to be very explosive. And all you need from the Bengals defense in reality is just for them to be a top 15 defense. And I think there is going to be a way where this team is actually a top 15 defense under new defensive coordinator, Al Golden. And I think he's going to do wonders for this defense. Like I said, assuming Henderson and Stewart are signed, because offensively, you got Joe Burrow, who's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. You got Jamar Chase, top 5 wide receiver. T. Higgins, top 5, number 2 wide receiver. You got Gesicki at tight end. Orlando Brown Jr., Amarius Mims, I think are going to play better on the offensive line, along with Ted Karras at that center position. So they do need to run the ball better. I will admit that. I think they're going to try to emphasize the run game more in 2025. But all the Bengals need is for that defense to be top 15. And we are talking about a playoff team, and we are talking about a team that can threaten anybody once they get into the playoffs because of the play of Joe Burrow. And like I said, top 15 defense, you don't necessarily have to be the greatest defense, but when you have an offense like the one that the Bengals have, all you need is timely stops. And with new defensive coordinator Al Golden, I think what he can incorporate into this defense, they could get timely stops with that offense still exploding. And with the offense, I think we'll have a much improved run game from what they had in 2024, because this run game for the Bengals was 30th. All I need is for that running game to be at least 20 to 15, maybe a little bit higher. And we're talking about a Bengals team that could threat anybody in the AFC. So I have the Bengals at number 1 on this list. But that's all I have. Make sure you guys leave this video a like. Comment your thoughts down below, because I know you guys are going to have something to say. I'm going to wait on it. And make sure you click the subscribe button and notification bell so you're not missing any of the videos. But I'm APW Sports signing out. Make sure you guys stay safe. Have a great next day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.